10 years after I took her place, the prodigal daughter who had been off enjoying the world finally came home. She was still as carefree as she'd been a decade ago. She handed Adrian Thorne, now a man of 32, a wishing bottle filled with sand as a gift. "Every grain of sand in here," she said, her voice breathy, "represents a day I missed you." Adrian's posture went rigid. Then Olivia turned to me, her chin held high with confidence. "I'm back. The stand-in can leave now." At 22, Adrian Thorne had nearly died of a broken heart. When Olivia left, Adrian placed the wishing bottle on the passenger seat. I took the hint and slipped into the back. He paused, looking back at me. "What's wrong?" "We agreed when we got married," I said, my voice even, "I would never try to take Olivia's place." 10 years ago, Olivia had run away from home without a word. My biological parents had rushed me back from the countryside, hastily announcing my identity just in time to salvage the arranged marriage with the Thorne family. On our wedding night, Adrian drank himself into a stupor, calling out Olivia's name all night long. For 10 years, while Olivia danced in Hawaii, I was bowing and scraping to Adrian's stepmother on his behalf. Olivia flashed a peace sign at penguins in Antarctica. I was drinking myself into a bleeding ulcer to land our new company's first major contract, while Olivia chased the northern lights and African sunsets. I lost our first child. And then our second in the crossfire of power struggles. I'd even had a kidnapper's knife pressed against my throat. She had her decade of freedom and now she could just waltz back in and demand I leave. Hearing my words, Adrian's lips parted as if to say something. "Amy, actually, He never finished. Olivia's call came through. He answered on the car's Bluetooth. "Adrian," her voice bubbled through the speakers. "Mom and Dad told me you two still don't have any children. Is it because you were waiting for me?" Her voice was thick with poorly concealed shyness and glee. "Olivia, what are you talking about?" Mrs. Ashwood's frantic voice cut in from the other end. The topic of children was a minefield for me. At 25, I was pregnant. Adrian's stepmother tricked me into drinking an herbal tea that caused a miscarriage. At 28, I was pregnant again. I hid it until 6 months along, but then I was slowly poisoned. The baby didn't survive. The day of the induction, my cries were primal, tearing from my soul. Adrian held me tightly, his own tears streaming down his face. As he swore he would never let me suffer again. And he kept his word. In 3 years, he drove out his stepmother and half-brother, seizing total control of the Thorne Group. 32, as one of the country's top CEOs. Adrian gave his first ever business interview. During the broadcast, he offered a few polite, rehearsed words of thanks for my support over the years. A week after that program aired, Olivia returned. Now, Adrian caught my expression in the rearview mirror and immediately ended the call. "Amy, Olivia doesn't know what happened these past 10 years. Don't mind her. She's always been sheltered. She just speaks her mind, sometimes without thinking enough." I cut him off, my patience gone. How is it that the ever-composed Mr. Thorne becomes so chatty when it comes to Olivia? "You're even making excuses for her now." Adrian's brow furrowed. He wrenched the steering wheel, pulling the car to a screeching halt on the side of the road. "Amy, are you still holding that against me?" 2. In our first year of marriage, Adrian's half-brother had a severe allergic reaction. His stepmother insisted I'd lace the cookies with peanut butter. 2 housemaids held me down, forcing me, the supposed young mistress of the house, to kneel on the floor. I looked at Adrian, pleading. He had been with me the entire time. He knew I was innocent, but he just kept his head down. Silent. That day, those 2 old women slapped me 20 times until my lip split and my face was a swollen, bruised mess. When we got back to our room, Adrian handed me 2 ice packs, his face a mask of guilt. "The timing isn't right. I hope you understand." That single word forced me to swallow all the pain and humiliation. Later that night, the throbbing in my face woke me. I went to the kitchen for more ice and heard Adrian on the phone. Thank God it wasn't Olivia. He was saying she never would have been able to handle it. I froze on the spot. To this day, Adrian has no idea I heard him. My sarcastic remark brought him back. He lit a cigarette and got out of the car, agitated. Just then, Olivia called again. He answered, but he forgot to disconnect the Bluetooth. Trapped in the car, I was forced to listen to Olivia's sweet, cooing voice. Adrian, can you come be with me tonight? The Bluetooth cut out instantly. Through the window, I saw Adrian crush his cigarette under his shoe. He kicked at a small stone on the pavement as he listened. A flustered expression on his face made him look like the 20-something boy I first met. Huh. So this was the power of the one that got away. 10 minutes later. He got back in the car, his eyes weary. Amy, I'll take you home first tonight. I might have to. Don't, I snapped, cutting him off. I couldn't bear to hear what bullshit excuse he would invent for Olivia's sake. Realizing I'd lost my composure, I forced my voice to soften. Mr. Thorne, you don't need to report your plans to me. He slammed his hand on the steering wheel. Amy Ashwood. You've always kept a wall up around me. Are you that desperate to draw a line between us? I turned my head away, fighting back tears. As the tension thickened, my mother called. Amy, your father and I were not good with words. We had to ask Adrian to come over and help us convince Olivia to move on. Can you just give your sister a little time? She's still young. She'll understand eventually. I let out a bitter laugh. Mom, I see you and Dad haven't changed. Still cleaning up Olivia's messes for her. But I will say, your tone is much gentler now than it used to be. When I was 18, my biological parents found me. But Olivia couldn't stand me. She framed me again and again with clumsy, obvious lies. Every single time, my parents chose to believe her. The last straw was when she threw herself down the stairs and claimed I pushed her. My father slapped me without even asking for my side of the story. My mother called me vicious. They unanimously decided to send me back to the countryside. They only remembered they had a biological daughter when Livia fled her wedding and they needed a replacement. Amy, do you really hate us that much? My mother's voice was filled with disbelief. Her question actually made me pause. Had the last 10 years free of Olivia's presence somehow made us all forget our places? Free? Adrian didn't come home that night. I wasn't surprised. My head throbbed all night as I drafted a divorce agreement I was finally satisfied with. At 9 a.m., Adrian called. Last night, Adrian, come have breakfast. I made you sunny-side-up eggs just the way you like them, Olivia's voice chirped in the background. I said, my voice cold. Amy, do you have to be so cold? Olivia's voice drew closer. Adrian, don't fight with my sister. If she really can't stand having me around, I can just leave again for another 10 years. That won't happen, Adrian soothed her, his voice gentle. There's a family dinner at the Ashwoods later. I expect you to be there. You have to come, sister, Olivia called out playfully. The line went dead. I gripped my phone, my knuckles white. Of course I would go. 2 hours later, I arrived at the Ashwood Villa, dressed to kill in a couture gown. Olivia was sitting cross-legged on the sofa, barefoot, excitedly showing our parents a thick stack of photos from her travels. She was in her pajamas, her hair loose and tousled. When she saw me, she burst out laughing, covering her mouth. Sister, it's just a family dinner. What's with the battle armor? Don't tell me you're trying to compete with me over a meal. I clenched my fists but forced a small, disdainful smile. Oh, please. That no-makeup look on your face must have taken some effort. Unlike you, I have an image to maintain. If a reporter snaps a photo of Mrs. Thorne looking sloppy, it reflects poorly on the family. You. Olivia shot up from the sofa, her eyes turning red, tears welling up. Perfectly. You're nothing but a thief who stole my life while I was gone. What right do you have to flaunt it in my face? I glanced at my flustered parents and threw my head back, laughing between the two of us. Who is the real thief? When you were happy, you were Miss Ashwood, heiress to the family fortune. When you were unhappy, you were just Livia, a free spirit who had to live her own life. You got to just walk away from it all. So why was I the one left to clean up this mess and go through with this goddamn marriage? Amy Ashwood. Adrian roared, his eyes bloodshot, stormed toward me. His right hand raised high. I lifted my chin, meeting his glare without flinching. Let the slap come. Adrian, don't, Olivia cried, throwing her arms around him from behind. Her voice choked with emotion. We made our feelings clear last night. That's enough for me. I couldn't bear it if you fought with my sister because of me. Made their feelings clear. Why wasn't he pushing her away? You're only brave enough to act tough in front of me, Adrian Thorne. In front of her, you're nothing but a well-behaved dog. Slap behind Adrian's back. Olivia peeked out a triumphant smirk on her face. Amy, rushing over, her trembling hands reaching for my face. Get away from me, I screamed. Stumbling back, I fixed my eyes on Adrian, my voice low and steady. Mr. Thorne, I want a divorce. And for 10 years of my life, $2 billion seems fair. Adrian's pupils contracted. He stood frozen, his gaze burning into me. Adrian stared at her as if he'd misheard. 2 billion? Amy smiled for the first time that day. That's actually a discount. The room fell silent. Her father slammed the table. Have you lost your mind? Amy calmly reached into her handbag and dropped a thick stack of documents onto the coffee table. I don't ask for things I can't prove. The papers scattered everywhere. Transfer records. Investment contracts. Tax filings. Board resolutions. Every major acquisition the Thorne Group had made over the last decade carried one signature. Amy Ashwood. Not Adrian. Her mother picked one up, hands shaking. You negotiated these? I negotiated all of them. Amy looked directly at Adrian. You know exactly how many nights I slept in airports while you were sick with heartbreak. You know who convinced foreign investors. You know who rescued your company when the banks refused to lend. You know who built your reputation while everyone thought you were some business genius. She laughed softly. You were the face. I was the brain. Adrian couldn't deny a single word. Because it was true. Every executive in the company knew it. They simply never dared say it out loud. Olivia's smile slowly disappeared. She had imagined Amy spending 10 years comfortably as Mrs. Thorne. She never imagined she'd been fighting corporate wars every single day. Adrian finally spoke. I'll transfer the money. Everyone looked at him. But don't divorce me. Amy's eyes held no emotion. You think this is a negotiation? She pulled another envelope from her bag. Divorce papers. Already signed. I wasn't asking. 3 days later. The internet exploded. The Thorne Group announced the unexpected resignation of Executive Director Amy Ashwood. The stock price immediately dropped 12%. Inside headquarters, executives panicked. One by one, key partners called. If Mrs. Ashwood isn't staying, we're reconsidering. The Singapore deal is suspended. The Dubai project is on hold. The European expansion is cancelled. Adrian spent 48 straight hours trying to contain the disaster. Then came the real blow. Amy accepted an offer from Thorne Group's biggest rival. The very next morning. Half the senior management followed her. Including the legal department. Including the acquisitions team. Including 3 vice presidents. The media called it the Great Exodus. Olivia still didn't understand. So what? She's just working somewhere else. Then she attended her first business banquet beside Adrian. Every CEO ignored her. Every investor greeted Amy first. Mrs. Ashwood. No. One elderly chairman laughed. I suppose it's Miss Ashwood again. Amy smiled elegantly. That's right. The entire ballroom laughed with him. Olivia's face burned. For the first time she realized. Nobody respected her. Nobody even knew who she was. Without Adrian. She was just a woman who had spent 10 years posting vacation photos. Then Amy made her next move. She quietly bought the mortgage debt on the Ashwood family's luxury estate through an investment fund. Nobody noticed. 3 months later. The loans came due. The bank refused to extend them. The Ashwood company had been secretly bleeding money for years. They had relied on Adrian's influence to survive. Now Amy's former company was competing directly against the Thornes. Adrian no longer had the spare capital, or leverage, to rescue them. The house. The company. Their vacation properties. Everything went to auction. Her parents begged Amy for help. She attended the auction personally. Wearing white, she sat in the front row. Every time someone bid, she raised her paddle. Until she owned everything. Her childhood home. Her parents' company headquarters. Even the vacation villa they'd bought for Olivia. The auctioneer smiled. "Congratulations, Miss Ashwood." Amy nodded. Then she turned toward her parents. "You once threw your real daughter away." She handed the keys to her lawyer. "Bulldoze the old house." Her mother collapsed into tears. "Please, those are our memories." Amy looked at the mansion one last time. "They were never mine." She walked away without looking back. The demolition began the next morning. She watched the excavator crush the front gates from inside her car. She smiled. Not politely. Not bitterly. She genuinely enjoyed it. Every crack in the walls felt like 10 years of humiliation collapsing with them. She drove away before the dust settled. Olivia's nightmare had only begun. Her influencer lifestyle had been funded almost entirely by family money. Now there was none. Brands stopped calling. Friends disappeared. Luxury hotels suddenly required payment. The credit cards were declined. She ran to Adrian. Only to find reporters surrounding Thorne Group headquarters. Another scandal. Internal emails had leaked. Not by Amy. By employees who had stayed behind. They revealed Adrian had repeatedly sidelined Amy's contributions while publicly taking credit for her work. Public opinion turned overnight. His self-made genius image evaporated. Shareholders demanded accountability. The board forced him to step down as CEO. He remained wealthy. But the empire he dreamed of ruling was no longer his. The title he loved most was gone. 6 months later, Amy attended a charity gala. She arrived as the founder of the country's fastest-growing investment firm. She spotted Adrian. He looked older. Tired. He walked over slowly. "I finally understand." Amy took a sip of champagne. "No. You finally lost." He lowered his head. "I loved you." She actually laughed. "No. You loved having someone willing to sacrifice everything for you." She placed her empty glass on a passing tray. "And the tragedy is, you didn't realize my value until I started building someone else's empire." She walked away. He didn't follow. Because there was nothing left to say. A year later, Amy visited a small cafe while traveling overseas. A television near the counter was playing entertainment news. Olivia Ashwood had been photographed working as a sales clerk after filing for personal bankruptcy. Her parents had moved into a tiny apartment on the outskirts of the city. The reporter called it a shocking fall from grace. Amy stirred her coffee. The barista asked casually, "Do you know them?" She smiled. "I used to." Then she looked out the window at the bright afternoon sun. For 10 years she had survived. Now, at last, she was living. And unlike everyone who had ruined her life, she was done with revenge for now. She'd already enjoyed. Big one of you to take picture. Take out the mask off your face, man. Take out the mask off your face. The adjustable seat makes for easy. Yeah, you know, proper.